Let's take a look at understanding fractions. Out of 3 students, 2 failed an exam. What fraction of the students failed the exam? And then write your fraction in lowest terms using a slash to separate the numerator and denominator. All right, so let's think about fractions here. When we set up fractions, we usually think of it as the part out of the whole thing. Okay, so the part would be the numerator or the top, and the whole would be the denominator or bottom, right? Those vocabulary, numerator always means the top of your fraction, and denominator means the bottom. So when they say out of 3 students, out of means that that's our total number. So out of a whole of 3, 2 failed the exam. So 2 is the part of the class that failed, or the part of our group that failed. So our fraction would be 2 out of 3, right? 2 students failed out of a total of 3 students that took that exam. Out of a 3-slice pizza, 2 slices are eaten. What fraction of the pizza was eaten? Okay, and we want to write our fraction in lowest terms. Okay, so just like before, we're thinking of our fraction as the part out of the whole thing. Okay, so the whole thing, it said out of a 3-slice pizza. So the whole pizza had 3 slices. That's going to go in the denominator. Of that, 2 slices are eaten. So if we're writing a fraction of the pizza that was eaten, well, the part that we already ate were 2 slices. So 2/3 of our pizza was eaten. And notice it does say write a fraction in lowest terms. So if I could reduce this, I would. To reduce a fraction, you need to see that there's a number that would go into both of those. So is there a number bigger than 1 that goes into both 2 and 3? In this case, no, so it's already in lowest terms. Matilda has 7 stuffed animals, but she gives 2 to her little sister. What fraction of her stuffed animals did she give away? Okay, well again, we're thinking about this as the part out of the whole thing when we set up this fraction. Okay, well the whole thing was how many animals total she had. She had 7 total, so that would be her whole number of stuffed animals. And she gave 2 to her little sister. So if we're trying to figure out the fraction she gave away, well, she gave away a part that represented 2 of them out of a total of 7. So she gave away 2/7. And always check to see if you can simplify. Is there a number bigger than 1 that goes into 2 and 7? No, so that's already in lowest terms. Austin made 5 brownies. He put nuts on 4 brownies. What fraction of the brownies had nuts? Okay, so we want to figure out what part of his brownie stash had nuts out of the whole brownie stash. Okay, so if we set up our fraction, well, the whole thing was the total number of brownies he made. He made a total of 5 brownies. The part would be just the ones that had nuts on them. There were nuts on 4 of the brownies. So 4/5 of his brownies had nuts. And I can't simplify that any further, so I'm going to leave it as 4/5. Sarah splits washing dishes with her brother. If she washes 3 of the 6 dishes, what fraction of the dishes did she do? Write your fraction in lowest terms using a slash to separate the numerator and denominator. Okay, so if we think of our fraction as being the part out of the whole thing, the whole thing is the total number of dishes. She washes 3 of the 6 dishes. So that meant there were 6 total dishes to be washed. The part are just the ones that Sarah washed. She washed 3 of them. So Sarah washed 3 out of 6 dishes. Now in this case, I can simplify this a little bit more because 3 goes into both numbers. 3 goes into both 3 and 6. So what I can do to help me simplify this, I can write these out showing my factor of 3. Right? 3 times 1 would give me 3, and 3 times 2 would give me 6. So that's another way to write my 6. And then you can cancel the number that's the same on the top and bottom, or the numerator and denominator. So I can cancel my factor of 3 in the numerator or top with my factor of 3 in the denominator or bottom, and that shows me that this fraction simplifies or reduces to 1 over 2. Nick's duck down pillow is losing feather. The package says there are 6 different feathers in the pillow, but Nick has found 5 floating around his room. What fraction of the feathers have fallen out of the pillow? Okay, well, if we think of this as the part out of the whole thing, so the whole thing would be the total number of feathers. So the packaging said there were 6 total, so that would be the whole thing. Now, of those 6 feathers, he already found 5 floating around his room. So that means 5 out of the 6 have fallen out. And I can't simplify that anymore because nothing bigger than 1 goes into both 5 and 6. Out of 5 students, 4 failed an exam. What fraction of the students failed? Okay, well, we're thinking a part out of the whole thing. That's always going to be our setup for a fraction. Okay, so out of 5 students, that means our whole number of students or all of the students was 5. The part failed was 4 of them. So 4 out of our 5 students failed our exam. I can't simplify that anymore because nothing bigger than 1 goes into both 4 and 5. Jackson has 8 stuffed animals, but he gives 6 to his little sister. What fraction of his stuffed animals did he give away? Okay, well, let's think of this as the part out of the whole. Okay, the whole would be all the stuffed animals that he had. He had a total of 8. So that's going to go in the denominator. The part is how many he gave away. He gave 6 to his little sister. So 6 of them were given away out of the total of 8. Now, in this case, I can reduce this because there is a number bigger than 1 that goes into both 6 and 8. 2 goes into both of those numbers. So I can write 6 as 2 times 3, and I can write 8 as 2 times 4. And then you can see I can cancel the 2 on the top with the 2 on the bottom, and it simplifies or reduces to 3 out of 4.